Tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
For another episode of Redneck Island AfterBuzz, and I'm so excited because this week our hosts are here.
Yay!
So today, we're going to recap episode number 2, which is called "Shot Through the Heart," which was a real fun little title there. But before I start, I want to take this minute and just introduce my co-host today. Sitting to my left.
Yeah, you left.
Okay,
yes.
my left is Dave Abel, and I'm so excited that you're here.
Yay,
Thank you very much. It's great to be here. Yeah, I was asked to do this show a couple days ago. Came on. I said, yes, that sounds great. I used to do AfterBuzz on Entourage.
Yeah.
So that was a while ago. And now I'm back. So it's great to be here. And yeah, a little bit about me. From Michigan, graduate of the University of Michigan. So huge.
From right here?
The center of the hand.
Right here.
The center of the hand.
Okay.
And then came out to LA to do the acting comedy thing. I like doing things like this because I've actually been on a number of reality shows myself. I was on Next on MTV, where they next you when you guys are dating on a bus, and then they're like, a girl comes out and she's like, I don't like your hair, next, and then you have to go on a bus. And then I was on a show called Dating in the Dark on ABC, and so that was cool. I was like in like Us Weekly for that show, and that was a lot of fun. And then I just did another one called Perfect Score. So yeah, I have a kind of a little bit of a behind-the-scenes reality show background. So that's a lot of fun when watching these types of shows.
And then, well, is it safe to say that you used to be a Blue Man at one point?
Yes, that is safe to say. It was a couple years ago, I auditioned for the Blue Man, got it, trained in New York, and so then I got all the way, I performed there for about 2 months, and then they were like, Dave, your drumming isn't quite where we want it to be, so then they cut me. So it was a tumultuous Blue Man experience. Interesting, still performed. Clive Owen came to one of our shows, so I as a Blue Man was on the cover of Broadway.com with me and Clive Owen as he came with the Blue Man. So it was an amazing experience, very unique. I'd never drummed before, so it's hard to keep up with drummers who drum their whole life when you only had 6 months of training.
Yeah, right.
So despite that, yeah, it was a pretty awesome experience and a unique one for sure.
Yay. Okay,
Yes.
cool. Well, we're so happy that you're here.
Pleasure to be here.
Yay, thanks.
Dave.
And sitting right next to Dave is a very good friend of mine, Faye Dale. And a little thing, you probably don't know this. I want to tell you right now that Faye and I went to high school together.
She was telling me that before the show.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's right.
Oh,
Not so far from here.
And that was what, like 5 years ago?
It was 5 years ago.
Okay,
It's incredible how time flies.
Yes.
It really
like
is.
you.
Good.
You were so awesome.
I was just what to say.
Wow. So Faye, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Certainly. I grew up in what I consider a small town community. I think you might agree with that. You might not.
Yeah.
But it's I've spent maybe running from that to large communities like New York and Los Angeles, which I love both of them. And I would say that my background in the industry in terms of live performance, probably some of the largest commercial theatrical shows that are out there. And they've allowed me to travel around the country and really match up with my friends from college and from home, so that it's a tough way to eat lunch, but you find lunch in every city. It's perfect.
So awesome.
What an interesting saying. It's a tough way to eat lunch. Is that a famous saying of some kind?
It is now.
It is now. We started it. That's what we do here.
Okay.
It is
We
what
start
we
saying
do.
it.
It all starts here at the AfterBuzz.
Okay, so last week we did episode 1, and I just want to recap on that. That's when John and Taylor found themselves out in the pit. Do you remember that challenge in the pit? And so they open episode 2 with the social game. And when I talk about the social game, that's the component of the reality show that really is where you can make and break your existence in a house. Don't you agree?
Yeah, when you're forming the alliances, getting to know people. And because when you're in a situation like that, as when I did Dating in the Dark, I lived with 5 people for 3 days. So yeah, right away, it can feel, you can think this can't be real, but it is. Because you have to, I think if you're going to go on a show like that, you have to allow yourself to live in the moment and like take people in as they are and respond to what they're like. So I think while it can seem shoved or kind of pushed at sometimes, I think these are like really how these guys are, and you hate some people and you like other ones, and you're just more encouraged to really say how you feel, unlike real life where you should not say how you feel.
It is the ultimate method acting experience.
It is, yes.
Okay, well, last week Shelby basically saved herself in the pit when she went up against Taylor, and last week I thought, man, I really like this Shelby. She's a little spitfire. She has
a beer in one hand and an attitude in the other.
Yeah. She in high school, she says that she was the girl most likely to speak her mind. Okay,
Right.
so not sure if that played well for her in this episode, but I was really surprised that as soon as we started episode 2, Shelby went gunning for Margaret. I mean, whoa!
Immediately, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pretty interesting. We are going to get a caller on the line. I see that Jami, who was unfortunately taken out at the end of episode 2, is on the line to give us her feedback. And maybe now's a good time to bring her in to kind of talk about the social game. Hello, Jami, are you there?
I'm here.
Hi, how are you?
Jami.
Hey, Jami.
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
We're great.
How's your forehead?
I'm covered.
I recovered. Good.
Girl, I don't know. You can't write that kind of stuff, and I certainly hope that you didn't give your little body any permanent damage, but you gave me the biggest belly laugh I could have had. I've watched it over and over.
Perfect.
It is, I don't know why we like slapstick,
I don't know.
You've got a second career.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Well, Jami, let me...
Out of all the things that I would hope to be famous or known for, that would probably be at the very bottom of the list, if even on the list at all.
You know what, Jami, you came in at such a perfect time because right in the beginning of the show, they did feature you a lot. You definitely know creative ways to drink. I didn't know that there were that many ways to suck down a beer, but you definitely introduced us to so many of them. Were you What are your thoughts? Like, you're seeing yourself on TV and you're watching that play out. Are you curious as to what people might think of your behavior in the house?
Definitely curious, but more worried than anything. You know, I was so worried the next day that I woke up and had, the worst hangover I've ever had in my life. I did not remember, anything that I'd done. So, of course, I was really curious, but then at the same time, I was kind of afraid to even know what they were thinking of me. I was like, well, I kind of want to know, but then again, I kind of don't want to know. Now,
I was, did your shirt accidentally come off in that? Was your shirt off?
It seemed like there were some breasts.
I don't think that was an accident, but we will go with that. We will say that it was an accident.
Did it accidentally just get untied and fall off your body?
Yeah.
I did ask the next day. I think I asked Cowboy, Lucas, Albert, or Shelby, one of them. I was like, one of them told me that I ran around the house topless, and I said, first thing was, why? And they said, well, you were trying to hula hoop, and you just couldn't do it, so you got mad, and you just ripped your shirt off.
I wish everyone got mad that way.
It happens to me on a daily basis, Jami. It's good stuff. I loved your strategy. I love the idea that the more you drink, and if you get everybody on your side, you had a chance. I actually, on that first episode, going into the second one, when you had said that was your strategy, is just to either drink them all under the table or get them all on your side with beer, I was like, this girl can win.
Well, I was going for what I was best at. you know? I'm good at drinking beer, so why not use that to my advantage? People think I'm a badass.
Know your strengths.
Wow. Well, let me Jami, let me ask you a couple quick questions, because I know I'm curious. I bet you guys are too. But they're showing Margaret to be, and I quote, a stage 5 clinger. Was that kind of getting on your nerves at all, or was that something that was going on that you weren't really seeing and we're watching it play out on television?
Well, you know, me personally, that first night I got really drunk and I kissed 2 guys, and thank God they didn't actually show it on the episode because I was.
They will now.
They will now.
But, you know, I didn't have an interest in really anybody in that house, any guys at all. That's not what I was there for, point blank period. But they did not show it on episode 2 that, the night that I got really, really drunk and took my shirt off and ate glass and all that, they didn't show me actually going up to Margaret. I said, apparently, I went up to Margaret and I just looked at her and I said, nobody likes you.
Oh.
Let's go back to the eating glass.
Right.
What part?
Oh, I meant running into the door. You
Oh.
know?
Oh,
okay,
interesting
okay.
phrasing.
See,
Okay.
yeah, okay. Jami, I
Running
want
into the door. Just an analogy.
what I'd like you to do, Jami, is stay on the line with us as we kind of recap the show, and then I'm going to ask you to chime in. Is that okay? Do you mind hanging in there for a few more minutes?
I don't mind.
Okay, great. Well, I want to chat about that challenge because I've been watching Redneck Island. This is season 4, so I've been watching 1, 2, and 3. I love that every season the challenges seem to be a little bit more over the top, more interesting. This is the first time you've seen challenges where it's a team competition. In seasons 1 through 3, it was individual. So now we've got this team competition, and so it's there's a lot going on with just that dynamic because you were paired up with Cody, right? Corey. You were paired up with Corey, right?
Yes.
Okay. Did you know, how did you feel working with him as a team player? Was he, is he someone that you felt that you could rely on? Was he one of the good guys?
Oh, definitely. Corey was the best person that I could have ever been teamed up with. And I was surprised whenever we actually, in the first episode, when we actually got to pick our partners, I was like the 4th or 5th girl that was called to pick their partner. I was so surprised that Corey was still standing there and nobody picked him. Because if you look at the dude, the first thing that comes to your mind is muscle. You know, like, he looks like a brick house. Like, nobody is going to beat him at a physical challenge. So that's the reason why I picked Corey to be my partner, because I wanted, I knew that I wasn't going to be as good at the challenges, and I wanted someone that would be able to carry me through the challenge. Not actually, me completely rely on them, but someone that I knew if I failed, they could complete it.
Okay, so when you guys were doing the challenge, it was called shooting blanks, and it was it was the concept of having accuracy with a shotgun, as well as being able to remember what bottle you shot at, and then in what order was that bottle in. And so there was some really neat dynamics to that. You definitely struggled with that.
Yes. Can I just say first and foremost that I am a natural blonde, and can I use that in my defense?
No, but go ahead. Yes.
Nice try.
Oh, Dave's a blonde, so I don't know.
Brunette some days, blondes others, depending on the sun.
Anybody,
Yes.
no offense to anybody, but that challenge, if you really think about it and put yourself in, our shoes, not only did I struggle with remembering the colors of the jars, everybody, a majority of the people did. They struggled, but whenever you're actually standing there and you're in that situation and you're running, I don't think they mentioned it, but we ran 100 yards to that sawhorse, and we had to actually assemble that gun. We had to put the gun together. It was completely taken apart. So running 100 yards, being timed against all these other roommates, and you already know, because I went in the second group, so I already know, Riley and Margaret had won out of that first group, and you wanting to beat their time, but the pressure that you're under, running that distance, trying to put that gun together, I'm telling you, it was 30 degrees out there that day, and it had been raining. It was freezing cold.
Wow.
We're in shorts and a tank top, and you know you're trying to aim this gun, and you only get 3 bullets per time that you run there. You know, and there's 8 jars set up, so you don't want to miss any of those jars because you're only allowed 3 bullets.
Well, that's
so
how
you're trying to.
It sounds like it was quite the challenge, right?
Well, and Jami, you were up against 2 military sharpshooters. 2 of the guys, that's their training. They were actually sharpshooters.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the pressure was on because, you know, people were bragging before we go into the challenge. Man, I do this. I've done this for a living. I've shot this gun. I shoot these guns. I own these guns. And you're like, oh, God.
Yeah, well, that's part of the mental game, too. Let me ask you a quick question, Jami. I'm sure you've watched the previous seasons when you knew you were cast for season 4, right? You probably went back and looked at some of the other episodes. Did you do any?
I have watched every season 1, season 2, and season 3 on TV.
Okay, great. What do you think about the dynamic co-hosting that's going on with Steve Austin, who was running the show for 3 seasons, now all of a sudden is sharing time with Jesse James? Does it look like it's working to you?
Yes, I actually love the idea. Whenever I first, you know, I got there and they told us about that, I kind of liked the fact that there was going to be a female co-host on the show. I loved it. And I know that they don't show her much on the show. Like, I know that they don't show her doing a lot of stuff. Like, she's mostly standing there and you know.
Yeah.
But
it looks
she
odd.
would actually come to the house and actually talk with us, you know. And it was really nice having her there, kind of more like a mentor. You know?
Okay.
Cool.
Was Steve Austin also coming to the house, or now is he not even making an appearance in the house to work?
Oh, he was there right whenever we got there. He was there ready to go.
Okay, cool. I was just wondering because, you know, you go from a host, Steve Austin, with his name, he can carry the show for 3 seasons, and then all of a sudden Jesse James comes into the picture, and it's like, not sure what's happening. You know,
it's a
like,
team. It's a team effort now.
Definitely, and it at first, you know, it kind of like when they told me, I was you know kind of blindsided with it. But then, you know, whenever you're there.
I'm sorry, was that blindsided or blonde-sided?
Blindsided with it.
So Jami,
you know,
let me just we're going to move the show along, but let me just ask you really quick, if you had to pick, well, I don't want to put you in that position. Tell me who your favorite girl is at the lake house, and who your favorite guy. Who do you just adore?
Okay, definitely. Well, my favorite guy is definitely, I have a tie between 2 people. I'm sorry, but I love Cowboy Lucas because he's hilarious. But I also love Corey because Corey actually, you know, he helped me in moments that I was feeling really down, and he got, you know, my self-esteem back up whenever I really needed it, whenever I really needed a friend, you know, and Cowboy was there to make me laugh.
So Corey and Cowboy. Now with Cowboy,
Corey.
I thought it was so funny. His mental game. Okay, so his social game here. Okay, this is like his strategy to, you know,
win people over.
To win people over. Is to get drunk. Last week he put on lingerie. This week he peed his pants. In his pants.
Literally.
And they didn't show the part where he actually bent over on the steps and poured beer down his butt crack. And it was
I'm
amazing.
sorry we missed that.
So Cowboy, he actually said it's part of his mental strategy. That was a quote
It
from
is mental.
Cowboy. Yeah.
And you know, I wish that they would show more of behind the scenes of us, you know, doing the fun stuff more than, you know, rather than the drama.
Right.
Right.
Well,
Right.
They're doing more of a focus on the drama, but I'm
Right.
telling you, y'all, we had some really fun times in that house. Like, we even did a wedding there, wedding where Parigi and Sarah got married. And it was amazing. Like, we had groomsmen, bridesmaids, and everything.
Oh, that's so cute. But I have to go back to, you know, to the mental game. We have to talk about Shelby. We have to talk about her decision to threaten
Margaret.
No, it wasn't Margaret. It was what was Cody's
Nicole.
Nicole. She just flat out basically said, Nicole, you put me up and I'm gonna punch you, basically, in a nutshell.
Watch your back,
watch your back. Well, that backfired. Like, it was an incredible.
Well, she really threatened everyone in the house.
They showed the part on the show where me and Shelby were actually talking on the porch, and I don't know if you guys saw that part where we were talking on the porch, and I told her that me, Cody, Corey, and Nicole wanted Margaret and Riley to go in.
Yeah.
Well, during that time, they didn't air it. They didn't show everything that we said, but I actually talked her into going down to the lake and actually apologizing to Nicole for saying that. And that was the deal breaker on who got sent into the pit.
Well,
Jamie,
I want to first of all thank you so much for taking the time to call in and share so much insight with us about Redneck Island. It was so fun talking to you. Sorry, you're not on the show anymore.
Hopefully you had a good time the last few weeks while you were waiting over your silent period before you could talk about it.
Yeah. And now, Jamie.
Yes. It's a relief. And I mean, I wish I could have took Margaret out.
Oh,
it would have been great.
Sorry, Jamie, it didn't happen. But tell the listeners where they can find you.
I am located in Foley, Alabama.
Oh, well, do you have a Twitter handle?
Yes, what's your address? And
your
what
address?
Are you wearing?
You know, I knock at every random glass door I see.
Oh, girl, do you have a Twitter handle? Can people find you on social media, Facebook, anything like that, Instagram?
Do.
Okay, well, go ahead and share that.
It's Jami Leigh, JamiLeigh 24. And my Instagram is Jami Leigh, JamiLeigh 2413.
Okay, well, Jamie, thank you so much for calling in. We really appreciate it. We love the show.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jamie.
Okay, have a good one.
You guys have a good one, too. Thank you so much.
See ya.
Bye now.
So, wow, that was fun, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, something I didn't know whether to ask Jamie about or not, but it's something I'm interested to hear your guys' thoughts is kind of the philosophical side of this show, which is Redneck Island and how it portrays rednecks. Because I'm watching it and I'm thinking, you know, I grew up in Michigan, small town. You grew up in a small town as well. These people look like a lot of models. They're like the best looking rednecks I've ever seen.
Prettiest rednecks
They're the prettiest
I've ever
rednecks, and they're all fit for the most part. They have the fat guy and like the pee in the pants.
Yes. They have characters.
But for the most part, it feels like the only redneck thing about a lot of these people is that they drink a lot of beer and they wear American flag shirts.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering what you think, if it's an accurate description of a redneck, and B, are we talking down to certain members of our society in calling them rednecks, or would a real redneck be proud of this show or think that it's not an accurate description?
Boy, now that's a really good question, and I think we should try and get Steve Austin on the show to answer that.
Yeah.
I think that would be great. I watched season 1 and 2, totally different casting. I mean, they were just normal, everyday people, and that's what hooked me to the show, because I wanted to fall in love with rednecks. I wanted to learn something about the culture, really.
Sure,
yeah,
sure.
I've never lived around that area, and I'm really not sure, what's going on. So here I am falling in love with these amazing characters. Well, they were real people, but the way they came across is just friendly and polite, and they all shared things that I really felt like I just fell in love with them. And then season 3 comes around, it's all young. I mean, the whole cast are beautiful, like season 4.
Right.
They're just gorgeous, and so the dynamics changed, and now it went from like a redneck survivor concept to a redneck Big Brother concept.
That's what I was thinking.
So it's so everything just switched. We're watching a show for the first time. The hosts are here, but it's really a completely different show. So what are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I mean, it makes me think, well, what is what are we calling rednecks? You know, it's like, is it what they wear? Is it how they act? Is it how they talk? And I'm not sure. I feel like it's not clearly defined in this show.
Well, I think every generation has a different version of itself. And redneck initially was defined as people that worked outside.
Right, and have rednecks.
And have rednecks from the sun.
Yes.
And from that, it became, I think, more of an American culture in a specific area of the country. But I don't know that I would love to think, especially having a show that's shown nationwide, it's not just geographic specific.
Yeah.
Maybe we have rednecks living amongst us,
Yeah.
and maybe they are beautiful and they wear eyelashes in the middle of the pit, and
Right.
but they do seem to drink an awful lot of beer through devices
Through
that
devices, yes.
I've never actually seen up close and in person.
Seems almost dangerous to squirt that beer so harshly
dangerous. I'm like,
in the
yes,
back of your throat.
Like it's going to burn a hole in
Yeah.
your esophagus.
I don't know how they wake up in the morning to do the challenges.
Oh
And
my
they do.
God.
Do you ever
Yeah.
think
They wake up skipping down, making bacon.
Yeah.
Or I'm always amazed. Maybe it was even Jami that had come out at the top of this particular segment or episode that was like, "Hey y'all, it's time to go down for the challenge."
Yeah.
And I was like, "It's time
oh.
to take a bottle of
Right,
Advil."
right.
I wasn't quite sure where to go with that,
Yeah.
but
Right.
I think they also have skills, or at least the challenges that are being put together for them seem to be very specific to, again, a culture. I've only held a gun in my hand a couple of times at a shooting range, and thank heavens there's every form of protection for me and those around me,
Yeah.
because it wasn't necessarily innate.
Right.
But the shooting challenge that they had,
Yeah.
shooting blanks, I'm like, that's wildly difficult, and bottles were breaking left, right, and center. So
Yeah.
there must be something. I don't know if you have to be a redneck to shoot a gun, but if there's a correlation there, then okay,
Yeah.
I'm in. I will never be on that show because really not good with a gun or a large rope.
Right.
Well, let me take you back to the show real quick. Last week, I don't know if you remember this, but Cody's basically, his head was on, he was getting ready to go on the chopping block, and he works a side deal with Riley. He's like, do me a favor. Don't put me up and I won't put you up. Right? And
Sure,
now
alliance.
yeah, right? So now it's Cody. Cody gets, he gets to call the shots this week. And I was blown away that he picked Riley. Were you guys surprised? I didn't see that coming. I mean, Margaret had her
Did not.
sixth senses on, and she felt it coming, but I was floored.
Well, I think there's always going to be a surprise in it, whether it's
Yeah.
through the editing or through your unmanaged expectation, because
Yeah.
you've seen them maybe build this alliance. But if
Yeah.
you really go back to the first show, I think first impressions are important, and neither one made a great impression on the other. They
Yeah.
realized they're both competitors.
Yeah.
That was the first thing that both of them had said, that they would get one another off the show faster than anybody else. So I think they really stick to their initial plan.
Yeah, and I think anytime they have an interview and somebody says, "There's no way this is going to happen," it's pretty much a sign it's definitely happening.
That's right. That's so right. Let's talk about typically what was happening in season 1 through 3 is with the Survivor kind of setup, they would go for an elimination round where they would do the vote off concept. And this year we're actually seeing the challenge in a pit, which, boy, that's kind of cool. Well, I mean, with the pit last week with Shelby and the ball, and this week it's the rope concept. It still makes it physical, and I like that. Even if you lose, if your teammate loses, you become the teammate of the other person. I think that. I like that angle. But what do you think about the pit challenges?
My only thought was, I put myself into it, and I thought, is it unfair that there's like huge muscular guys versus like the guy that pees in his pants, who's obviously probably hasn't seen a gym since he was born.
Right.
And because I was thinking, like, could I even, and I work out and lift weights, but I don't even know if I could, pulling the rope, pull one of that huge guy off the thing, because he's got a very strong center of balance.
But he was also the one that would maybe fall off the rafts that first week.
Right.
I mean, those challenges are really well thought out
Yeah.
to try and highlight each person's strength at some point. And I guess it just depends on when you happen to get that particular challenge. Yeah, no, I'm telling you, that rope game, I would have just jumped off and not pulled a single. I would have been like, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm out. Where's the spa?
Bye.
Where's the mud pack spa right now?
Now, do you guys notice we were talking about the redneck culture, and there's a little bit, it's kind of playing out a little bit when they were both on these stumps, right? And Steve Austin was like, "Are you ready?" And Corey said, "Yes, sir." And then he goes, "Are you ready?" And he goes, "Yes, sir." And when do you hear that in LA a lot? Do you ever hear that?
People from the South.
It's called manners.
I know. I like that. I told myself today, I want to say that more often. I want to say, "Yes, ma'am, yes, sir," more often. Because I think it sounds really cool, and it just shows, you know, that you care about the other person when you add that. What are your thoughts on yes ma'am, yes sir?
I have one of my good friends from Mississippi, and that's how he addresses all not elder, but
it's
like,
only for elderly? Like,
no,
I couldn't
like,
call you sir? Could I say yes sir to
he
you?
wouldn't say that to me, but he would say, like, if I was his boss, I think he would say yes sir, but not
okay.
as a friend.
Oh, okay.
So it's to people of authority and to like parents and those type of things.
I see.
But I think he can get away with it because that's like his mentality. I think if I were to run around saying yes sir, yes ma'am, I don't know if it would come across as genuine just because that's not in my vernacular. So I feel like it has to come from an honest place.
Absolutely.
And so it kind of has to depend on the person.
Kind of like the Midwest, instead of saying excuse me and they say please.
Right.
Yeah.
Wait, where was that?
Please get the hell out of the way.
I don't think rednecks use the word vernacular, so I think we're good.
I'm trying to introduce new terms each week. So this week it's vernacular.
Okay.
Big words.
Yes.
So okay, Margaret. She lost Riley.
Wah, wah.
Were they having sex, do we think?
I
don't
totally think that.
know.
No, they
Do you
showed
think
that.
so?
Well,
They
what they
cuddled.
showed was the big cuddle and a big smooch, and
sharing
I
the
like
bed.
him, but it is classic.
Yeah.
Classic Riley, since he's gone, is that, you know, yeah, I like her pretty much. She's pretty, and I like pretty girls.
Right.
Good for you, Riley.
Most of us do.
Yeah, you know, it's you just kind of like, okay.
Yeah.
Well, Margaret fell apart. Like, she fell apart when she lost Riley, and
When you're not on Xanax,
yeah.
it happens.
Oh.
Yeah.
But she was literally like crying, saying, "I can't do it without him. I can't do it without him." And I thought, wow, it's probably only been 4 days, maybe tops. Like right
But
now,
maybe it's 4 days to us. Who knows how long?
I don't know. It seems like you're in reality show. Don't they take about 2 weeks to film an entire season?
Well, let's see. Like my episode, which like I can only speak from the things that I've done, but like it was an hour show and took place over 3 days. So it took 3
Okay.
days to do about
1
like
hour?
5 dates in an hour. So I would
Okay.
imagine, because you think like the gun range episode, like they gotta be like, okay, we're shooting guns. Then everybody has to get trainings on guns that day. I'm sure there's a safety thing.
Right.
So I'm sure these things take full days.
Right.
But you know, with her response, I was thinking, on a show like that, I'm sure like you find that's your world, and a lot
Yeah.
of times they don't let you watch TV at these things. They don't let you get on the internet because they don't want anything affecting you. So I think when you have a connection with somebody, it can be fast forwarded because this is the life that you're living right now, and it can be like, oh, this is the person that I can get through this experience with, and I can see
Right.
if that gets
Right.
broken, it can maybe seem a
Right.
little scary.
So they play it out, and she's called a stage 5 clinger, but clearly she's a stage 10.
I love stage
Stage
5
5 clinger.
clinger. We got a clinger in here.
We got a
Like
stage
a
5.
Star Trek
No.
term, it sounds like.
She's more like a stage 10.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Tell me about what are your picks for next week?
Picks to win, or
Yeah, just
picks
like who do you, either or. Like who do you think? I think let's go with who do I think's going to go out? I think Shelby's got a target on her back because she really played the wrong hand at the wrong time.
Yeah, but you know what? Shelby has night vision goggles, I'm certain. So
Really?
she's she's smart. She will stand up for herself. I think that that's important when you're out on an island or a lake house and you're with a group of people you don't know. She might have a target on her back, but she's tough. I would not have wanted to been in the pit with her last week when she wrapped her arm around her opponent's neck. And she might be small, but she's mighty. I love Cowboy. I think that we were talking earlier about sincerity and being genuine and maybe trying to understand a redneck culture and where this season is going. And I think he could be underplaying his talents and gifts. He is one of the sharpshooters, trained sharpshooters.
Really?
And so I think he may have some underlying gifts in there for his physical challenges, although clearly, I mean, he can pee on command. So
Impressive.
It
And
is
still wear the
impressive.
pants afterwards, which would be my biggest problem with that.
Oh, that's from being out in the cold too
Right,
long.
I know.
But I'm loving Cowboy to go a few more episodes down the road.
What about you? You got a favorite?
Well, I tell you, being new to the show, I have to be honest, the names are eluding me just
right,
yet.
right.
So, while I don't have a prediction, I will say what I like about the show is, and we were talking about this before, is I do find myself pulling for people as I get to know them. And I don't know exactly what makes me pull for, like, Riley, for example, in this last one. And I think it's just when you find sometimes you cheer. I tend to cheer for the good guys, and some people cheer for the bad guys. And that guy seemed like a relatively like good guy, and the other one seemed kind of like a dick. So I was like, oh, okay, I'll go for Riley in this one. And I kind of like their little romance going on. That's cute to see.
Yeah.
So I don't know for the future. My guess would be they're gonna make sure to continue to do challenge that focus on different characters in the show. So I'm sure next week it'll probably
that's
be
exactly
totally
it too.
different.
You don't know all the names because they're not equally highlighted throughout the show. Like I don't even remember seeing much of Blake this last week.
Right, and then if in seasons 1 through 3, the casts were about 15. Now here we have a cast of 24.
That's a lot.
That's huge.
A lot of people in a house.
That's huge. So yeah, I'm in a little overwhelm. I tell myself when I watch the show, just focus on what they're showing me. That's like the important thing right now. There's a lot of people flying under the radar. I think Margaret's gonna start the next week. I don't think she's gonna have such a big target on her back. I think they just wanted to break up the Riley Margaret alliance. Yeah, because it's pretty strong, pretty power. They were a great combination on challenges. I mean, they were really just always like in the top 1 or 2, and now she's with Corey, who was so sweet. And when Jami was saying like Corey was always like really right there by her side, encouraging her, the first thing Corey did when the pit challenge was over, he went up to Margaret and he started telling her, I'm going to do the very best I can for you. I'm going to try really hard. And I thought that was really nice. Corey got some big points with me, just showing me who he was as a person. And like you said, I want to get to know who they are as a person. Corey seems really nice.
Right. I tell you, if Nuts, the house pet, could speak, have you seen Nuts?
No, what's the house pet? I missed the house pet. There's a house pet? Where is it?
Well, it's a petrified squirrel that they killed and stuffed.
Oh, fun.
And it's named Nuts. And he sits prominently in a glass case. And I'm thinking to be Nuts would be the perfect animals right now.
The house is nuts.
The house is nuts.
The house is nuts, yes. It's been really fun. I mean, I'm looking forward to the next show. But thinking about episode 3 and where we're going with this show, it is building nicely, don't you think? I mean, it's got. Do you definitely? I mean,
Absolutely.
I want to tune in.
I want to tune in and see what's happening. And
right.
It's not necessarily continuation from the last week. I think you really have to be there each week. As we were just saying, there's 24 competitors, and it's not possible to have a story on every single one of them each week,
right? And
so therefore, you'll miss something if you don't tune in,
right? I'm going to tell you this: I have been doing my own little survey, right, on this season 4 cast, and I am paying close attention to what they are saying just before a challenge, because I believe that the mindset is what's going to get someone to win a challenge. It's not brawn, it's not agility, it's mindset. And last week, it was Blake with that he was so focused. I don't know if you
That's because he took his contacts out.
He took his contacts out. He could see. He was praying. He was gonna win. And then he not only ran through John, but he could have gone another 2 miles.
Run, Forrest, run!
I know, right? And so, if you start looking at the strategy, but also start looking at the mindset at the pit challenge, Margaret's mindset was stronger than Jami's. I don't mean any disrespect for Jami, but Margaret was like, I'm going to win. And now also with Corey versus Riley wasn't saying much. He was kind of holding everything in, but Corey's like, I'm still here. I'm still here. That's like a strong mindset. So pit challenge next week. Tell me if you think there's a mindset. Yes.
Sure.
I honestly believe it's a mindset over everything else.
Yeah.
The winner of this game is going to have a strong mindset to get through the challenges and the best social game. I don't know who that is, but
I don't either.
Interesting philosophy, and we will look out for that. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's pretty much our show for today. I'd like to just finish up with where people can find you, Faye, on social media.
Sure.
And if you have anything going on.
You can find me at Redneck FD on Twitter.
Oh, you got a Twitter handle
with Redneck in it. Why not, right?
I love it. Okay.
You can find me on Twitter at GoBlueDave, which I made after I graduated from Michigan, so that's a Go Blue shout out to Michigan.
Oh.
And on Instagram at Dave Abed, DAVEABED.
Cool. And I'm your Twitter buds now.
Yes.
Okay. And for me, you can find me. My Twitter handle is @LittleEgypt. It's also my Instagram handle. You can find me on Facebook at the official page of Little Egypt, and it's not too late to get your Christmas shopping done and go on ProWrestlingTees.com to buy a Little Egypt t-shirt.
Cute.
For your friends. Right?
Got mine.
Mine's in the mail.
And then also, I do write a wrestling column that you can read every month on Out Wrestling. It's a UK magazine, but you can also read it online. And then you can also see me in my first appearance alongside other famous WWE stars like Trish Stratus and Missy Hyatt. And then we're going to be doing that in Wilmington, North Carolina. So I get to go to
Dun, dun, dun.
the
Redneck country.
Redneck
Yes,
country.
nice.
So I'm telling you this now for all the listeners that are in that area. Come by and see me. And that is our show for today. Thank you for tuning in, and we will catch you later.
Buzz you later.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.